So this is something
Shoot
that
your
I just
shot.
shoot your shot. Exactly,
Shoot
exactly.
your how can I choose a field that I don't know anything about? And I think the only field that was remaining for me and the seeds that were remaining was fashion communication. I think family, I've never seen a lot of people going to a 9 to 5. Nobody had a 9 to 5 around me. Both of my mom and dad, they had their own small businesses.
Hello, welcome everyone to the sixth episode of the VYRus Show. And today we have a very special guest. I am a bit nervous as well because this is one of my dream client, a dream guest, sorry, client, dream guest
Client
that
me,
I would
client me. The
maybe
future में client me.
I would love to. So this is one of the top dream guests that I would wanted to my podcast or or scene क्या है कि this we have Maitreyee Kalaskar, and if I hope that I'm pronouncing the name
It's
right.
fine.
So
It's fine. It's a big name. It's okay.
yeah, it is a big name, but I think that is what makes us remember the whole name. Yeah.
Maybe.
So today we have a very special guest, one of the dream guests of this podcast, and one of the biggest reason that I started this podcast as well as my design journey. So
Oh,
for
wow.
those who don't know Maitri, please Google करके आना. And yeah, she's a celebrity. You are a celebrity, Maitri. So over to you. For those who don't know you and would not like to Google, would you like to tell us about yourself?
Hello, everyone who is lazy at Googling. My name is Maitreyee Kalaskar. I am from Pune and Ahmednagar. I'm based in Bangalore right now. And I'm a multidisciplinary artist with an independent studio called Me Studios. So it's Me by Maitreyee, which is like, another crazy name added for the studio list of design studios. So yeah, I'm based in Bangalore right now, and we have been really honored in working with so many brands from Budweiser, OnePlus, Adobe, UCLA, recently MyGate and everything. So yeah, we are kind of stepping up the game this year. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was amazing meeting you at two events, and thank you so much for the gift that you've given me.
Means a really lot and means a lot that you came and that you actually came. And what happens is like whenever we start as like I'm starting this whole podcast thing, everything is in a very baby stage. So getting guest from my dream list is like people who are actually busy in their life, and you as working with such great people and companies and brands on such great projects. It was very skeptical for me to ask you and to like pitch you about this podcast because I have nothing solid. Like I cannot provide you anything. I don't have enough like 100K followers or something like that. But I shot my shot. I think this I learned this from your recent video that taking your shot and saying yes. So this is
Shoot
something that
your
I just
shot.
shoot your shot. Exactly,
Shoot
exactly.
your shot.
Yeah. So folks, that very interesting story. When I've been following Maitri for a very long, for like whenever the moment I started my career into design and getting to know about graphic design, so I used to search on Google and like let's see what is going on, where can I teach, where can I educate myself. So Maitri was someone who always used to come up, and her works has been a very great source of inspiration for me as well as for a lot of people out there. So Maitri, talking about like we will start about the whole podcast with something very personal and talking about you. So tell us your journey and tell us how you landed up in design. Tell us how you like school, your college. You can go as long as back you want. You can go as much detail as you want. So it's all up to you. Tell us about your journey.
I think I've spoken about my journey for some time. I think even on my podcast and other podcasts as well. But
Yeah.
I think I have one of the most boring journeys there is, because I always see people going from like engineering and they had to rebel and they had to go to like design background and all of that stuff, right? Oh yeah. But mine is like we have a lot of artists in my family as well. Not specifically artists, but we have like architects and people in the creative field. We have fine artists as well, designers as well. So I think it was more of a given. Like it was okay if Maitrey goes into like a creative field, right? And I think that was kind of a given when my mom saw me like color in like a bat and a ball when I was in nursery or something. That's the story, at least she tells me. And I think I got hooked up to a lot of anime coloring books and cartoons early on, and that's why I started loving animation in general before, and that's how I got into the whole thing. Like, oh, I would love to become an animator at like Pixar or Google or something. What Google? I would love to become an animator at Disney or Pixar, or DreamWorks or something. But yeah, it was a journey that disappointed me and not becoming an animator. And that's why I became an
Uh,
illustrator, and then I went into design. And yeah, I got a formal education in design. I have a BFA, which is a whenever I say this, it's like bachelor's in like finance or something, but it's not finance; it's fine arts. And we were taught a lot of design aspects as well in the third and the fourth year. So it was really fun. And with the fine arts background, we got a lot of the color theory and the principles and the anatomy and everything very basic that you need to kind of grow up with. So like the basic skills, I think they were kind of taught to us and polished in the college as well. So that was really nice, actually.
that was pretty interesting for someone who is an engineer who was a rebel to get into get into design. So what usually happens in India is like what I have experienced is that we both like we all go towards this typical and safe options, going for design, going for doctor, going for engineer, or civil service aspirants and all those stuffs. So what made you choose BFA? What made you get into that BFA, not anything else?
Well, I think when you are getting into any design college, I think even in
Mhm.
bachelor's in any design college, I think you have to give certain exams to get there. And I remember applying for NIFT, NID. I think yeah, I got into NIFT pretty at the last stage where I went to Delhi and I had to just submit the check and everything. And but the thing was, I had to, like, they told me and they kind of forced me to, like, you have to choose a specific design field then and there in your bachelor's, which did sit right with me. I'm like, I don't know anything about this field. I have not learned anything professionally. How can I choose a field that I don't know anything about? And I think the only field that was remaining for me and the seats that were remaining was fashion communication, I think, and
Okay.
accessory design. I'm like, no, that's not me. Like, I would love to, like, maybe do it ahead in the future, like in the future maybe, but I'm here to learn like basics. Like that's what bachelor's is for. And I'm like, you know what? This is gonna be a bit disappointing because all of my friends were going to these big colleges like MIT and NIT and NIFT. I'm like, I don't want to choose anything right now. I want to really learn the basics. And a lot of my family members has, like, they have done BFAs, which is bachelor's in fine arts. Like my grandfather has done his BFA in JJ College in Mumbai. My aunt has one of her BFAs, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just take a step in their journey as well in whatever field that they have chosen, because I used to see what they work with, and their basics were so clear. And like, I think BFA is for me. So yeah, I applied to a BFA college in Pune, which is Bharati Vidyapeeth Pune University, and yeah, I learned so many things. I think we also learned like block printing or something at one point. And um, yeah, we used to do a lot of sketching. We used to have like live models come in, and we used to sketch like anatomy and stuff, which really really helped me um, do the, what do you call it, the laying out of the whole illustration, the hierarchies and sketching and anatomy and everything. I think that, like, BFA kind of taught me the basics of everything that you learned. And I think that's how I transitioned into it, and that's how I went to this. And I'm actually glad. I'm actually glad that I chose this over anything.
That is great. Very interesting story about that. So one thing I would like to ask here is like, did you thought like before doing like deciding to jump to straight into design for bachelor's, where was there
Hmm.
anything else in your mind like except design, like doing BFA, not at all about BFA, talking about design in general?
Okay, so except creativity, I was like a I it was like a 95%. I knew I wanted to become like a
Mhm.
creative person or in a creative field. But that 5%, I have a rebel in me, or like I have like that tomboyish go-getter kind of a feel. I always would have loved to become a pilot, but it required a lot of yeah, studies, which I was not good at at all. But yeah, eh, sad.
That was the main question that was I wanted to understand, because what I have seen is like the um, right now in the industry there are a lot of self-taught designers and most of them are from engineering background, including
Uh-huh.
me as well. And I wanted
Mhm.
to understand that at when we are a kid, when we are not aware about the reality of this world, we all have like very vague or very big dreams of like, I will become astronaut, I will become a pilot. But then life happens and
It
we
was
decide
not, it
choosing.
was, I mean, I would say it was not a big dream. It was like somewhere in the background, like 1% or something.
Mhm.
But I thought, I don't think it would be like a very feasible career for me because I'm a bit lazy. So I don't think it would have worked out. But yeah, I think that was something that I would have loved to do because I am a huge adrenaline junkie. Huge adrenaline junkie. So I love bikes. I love cars. I think the first bike I learned was the Kawasaki Avenger. At that time, it was Kawasaki. Now it's Bajaj. So yeah, I've done a lot of bike trips from one city to another. I've done a lot of treks with my mother and everything. So yeah, I'm a big adrenaline junkie. So I think that's where it came from. That I would have loved to become a pilot, maybe, but it
You can
requires
try now.
studies. So I'm like, yeah, I'm nah, no, no. It requires a lot of studies. I'm not in for studying, specifically like maths and science. I don't think I can do that again.
I can understand. That is the reason I like left my engineering while being in engineering. Even there was a time that my father told me that you have to I just graduated last few months ago. So my
Hmm.
father was telling, you can now add ER before your name. I'm like, I don't even know anything about engineering. Why will I add ER? I don't want to be
Will,
called
no,
engineer.
I think you'll add dot PhD at the last of your name.
You that is again move बहुत बहुत common हो गया वो चीज़. So yeah, moving
Yeah.
ahead. After you did your bachelor's, how was your career? Like, how was your design journey? Like, did you got your first gig? Did you get into a job or did you get into an agency? How was the experience at that time?
Again, I come from a different kind of a background. I think in my family, I've never seen a lot of people going to a 9 to 5. Nobody had a 9 to 5 around me. Both of my mom and dad, they had their own small businesses, and they used to do it whenever they want to go like and do their work and everything. And it was not like a big business or anything. I've seen like unsuccessful days as well in their time. So I've always seen that freelancing bit that they used to do, both of them. And like a pro level for that, like a pro and cons. When we say like the pro was that like I always had like my parents around, and that was really really nice for me to see. So I've never seen anyone in my family doing a 9 to 5. So I thought I would never do a 9 to 5 because going in the morning and coming back, I'm like, oh, that would take a lot out of me. But a lot of people told me that I think you should try doing a job for at least 1 year. And I was being me. I was like, oh, I don't want to do a job. I think I can do freelancing because I started freelancing in like second year of my college, right? I'm a very practical person, very logical person. I'm not very emotional. But so when the practicality came in, I'm like, I need to know that market, how market usually works, and I want to actually have like a practical knowledge about what specifically requirements come in with logo design, right? Because the briefs that our college used to give was for designers and by designers, it was not by clients. So getting that practical knowledge in, like how confused usually clients are, it kind of helped me gain that practical knowledge about everything. So um, I'm like, I'm already doing a lot of outside my studies and everything. I'm already earning a little bit of money here and there. And by the way, my first logo design, like the whole branding project, was for 5,000 rupees. Thank you very much. I earned a lot of money from it. But I was really happy about it. Like, actually earning money out of it. Um, but yeah, I was like, okay, fine, I'll do like a 1 year of job, and I think that will give me like a agency experience, like a studio experience. And it was one of the best agencies, like best studios I've worked with, called Ornate Studios in Pune. And loved the people there, and they were a lot into exhibition design, expo design, a little bit of branding and everything. And going there, I understood there are so many things you can do rather than just branding. And we used to do like exhibition designs for like events in France and Spain and everything. It was really fun to work with the founders as well as the senior designer. And not 1 year, I stayed there for 2 years. I learned so many things from it. And I think everybody should definitely have like that job experience, because you get to see in the creative field and how other creatives think, which is so different, right? Um, and I think every creative's perspective is completely different. So I think having those people around, having even seniors around you and juniors around you who think really differently and are fresh out of the boat, and they are just hyped up on creativity, and like senior designers are hyped up on ROIs and actually how to get money and what the client needs and the application of the design that they are doing. It's really fun to see everything going around in the office. So I would definitely suggest for everybody to go and work at least 1 year at any studio or an agency, because that will change your view completely if you haven't already, in a good way or a bad way, but yeah.
I think that is very important. For me it was a very different experience, but everyone told me to
Mhm.
do a job, to get into a job and stick to a job. Even like
Yeah.
this
Mhm.
decent job that I resigned from, I stick to that like other 6 to 7 months, and
Okay.
that was my first physical job. But I have been like doing free few jobs and like uh, what you can say, like remote and for a while. But getting into a job and sticking to a job for a year for me was a big thing. I glad you did that, and I think it was a very important stone for your career. I would say
Yeah.
for everyone who is just graduating, a job is very important. Even though the
Yes.
freelancing, the agency thing looks very glamorous, there are 17 years old who are making millions with agency model and all. But still, you in a creative field, it is very different.
It's very different. I feel it's great. Like if you start earning really early, go and do that thing. But the thing is, in creative field, it's not just about the people. I would say it's about the system. It's about the process, and no one teaches you process ever anywhere. I think you have to kind of work into it and just see how things work. Even if it's in a bad way, you at
Mhm.
least see what went bad, right? Then you won't actually repeat it when you start your agency or when you start freelancing. And personally say, like, if you get into a really big studio and really big agency, go for it, because the thing is, big agencies have so much budget. First of all, big clients, time, they have so many resources that you are never going to have as a freelancer or maybe a small studio owner. So working at that level is like a very different thing. It's like literally someone is doing a photo shoot in Pondicherry and one person is getting a photographer in Goa, and there are a few people in Brazil who are kind of directing us. Having that field, oh my god, I absolutely love being a part of this um, big communities and big companies when the people are mostly creatively happy to work with them. It's fun when you get the right people in the right studio.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. I think collaboration is the key here. No, like you cannot build anything without collaboration. Even if you are
Yeah.
staying small, you need people. And if you are big, you already have people. You have the network. So moving ahead, talking about this job thing, how did you transition from job to a studio? The most asked question, I think. I hope. So how,
Yeah.
what made you start this studio thing?
I was freelancing since second year of my college,
Mm-hmm.
and even when I was doing my job at that time, I was earning way more in freelancing at the same time when I was doing my job. So I remember coming home at 8 o'clock or something and still doing my freelancing at night, and going up, like getting up early, doing the freelancing bit, and going to office. But that kind of kicked off. But yeah, those 2 years was really fun, and I absolutely loved working with them as well. And while doing all of that, I kind of found that I have been earning way more in freelancing than I was doing with the job. And at certain points, me being me, I'm a very multidisciplinary designer. And after a while, when I work on just one thing at a time, so let's say I'm just working on illustration for like a month, my creativity is dead. It's dead. So I have to keep on working on like multiple projects or like multiple different fields at the same time to keep my creativity going. Like I know so many designers who work on just one thing and that keeps them going because it makes you a specialist in that field, right? I think it's different for everybody. So for me, I have to keep on just shuffling between fields so that I keep that creative inspiration going in my head. I think that's how my brain works. And that was not happening in the studio that I was working with. I think they were not getting the clients that I wanted at the time. And I got really good clients at that point. And I think I was looking up a lot of design YouTube channels. And one of my mentors at that time, he also was talking about this, like have a leverage with you, or like a good work, like a good portfolio, and have a good amount of savings with you. So I found a lot of videos as well that told like, oh, have like at least a 6 month of savings with you, and that would kind of help you. I'm like, 6 months is a lot because I'm still staying at my parents' and grandparents' house, so I don't need it. But I still kept like a 5 months saving, of a salary with me, like in case if I don't get job. The moment I left my job, I understood the amount of things I need to become a freelancer. So I needed like a good laptop. At that point, my old laptop was dying, so I needed a good laptop. And I'm like, oh, I have so much work. I need hard disks and hard drives and USBs, and I need a good camera because I was doing like a photography, and all of these expenses just added up. And I was so happy that I had like that amount to go back to, and that saving that I already had before I left the job. So I would say have, if you're leaving your job, have some amount to go back to, kind of, it'll save you a little bit. And yeah, I just dropped being into a 9 to 5, and I went to 24/7, which I'm doing still. So yeah.
I can relate it to, I cannot relate it much because I am at this stage. I literally am at this stage, and people told me to have 6 months of saving and I had zero, and I
Yeah.
still have nothing. But chal raha hai, like I took the leap. So you mentioned about
Hmm.
like starting like uh, what like, sorry, I was talking about ki starting the studio, and I have very confusion. Like I mostly people ask me like, what do you find the most biggest difference between a studio and agency? What did you have like a experience a big difference between agency and a studio where you were working when you started?
I personally feel there is like a different kind of a model for it. So again, like agencies and studio names, they go like way back as well. So usually it was like agencies used to work in advertisement and marketing and all of that stuff, and studios are like properly creative doing the design work. So agencies sometimes used to take studios with them, which they still do, and they
Mhm.
work together. So I have worked with, let's say, Oliver Agency as Me Studios. We have worked with them with a lot of like Budweiser, Ho Garden projects and everything. So it is usually, I personally feel like agency is like a bigger part and studio is like a smaller part. And even if studio is bigger, agencies work on mostly marketing and everything. But you know
Mhm.
what? Since we are doing this podcast, let me just check
Mhm.
so that we have our facts right.
Sure.
Yeah, studio focuses on specific services. That's the thing. I think agencies usually work on like a lot of bigger projects, and I think have also seen like agencies doing a lot of PR work as well. So I feel they're a lot into e-commerce and marketing and being PRs and doing the creative stuff, but being like that monthly retainer that you need. Studios
Mhm.
are usually way more specified. Like we are an illustration studio, we are a design studio, and everything. So yeah.
Like that. So yeah, that was what I was also thinking. But I just wanted to clarify and
Mhm.
understand what was your perspective, and because you
I
are
think
having a
no,
small team. Yeah.
I would also suggest that now
Mhm.
things are changing a bit. I mean, a bigger studio is still called a studio, but I don't think there's a
Mhm.
small agency. I think, if I'm not wrong. But I think these things are changing now a lot. Because I remember a lot of agencies that I applied for like long time back when I was just starting out and I was in college at that time, and I used to search agencies in general. They were just agencies. I don't think a studio existed at that point. So it was
Okay.
just like design agency. So I think a lot of things are changing, and like the words and meanings are changing a lot nowadays. So yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. You also mentioned that you were working like after your job and before your job for freelance projects, and you were making more than your job. So this is which is something not
Mm.
everyone is able to do. So would you like to tell us about that? How were you able to get that, get at that stage? You are having work and you are having
I
clients.
would I mean, I think network as
Okay.
much as you can. I think I started with telling my families and friends that I am looking for a job or I'm looking for like a freelance project or something. Um, and if anybody knows, please let me know. And at that point, there was no hard and fast process of design, right? So I feel because there was no hard and fast design process, I feel it was a random project that I used to do. Like, oh, here are 8 logo options. Which one did you like? This one. All right, I'll make this finalize. Give us 24 more options or something. It didn't have that process. It didn't have a solid path or a solid route at that point. So I used to take so many small projects at the same time. So I used to always see if the client that I got, let's say for a logo project or illustration project, if I can convert them into a retainer, which really helped actually. So there was like this one sports brand, a very small sports brand that I worked with in Pune, and I remember they're like, "Oh, we need a logo design," and it went on for a month, and I gave them about 60 logos or something. I don't know, uh, because at that time it was like my freelancing was like my side hustle at that point in my third year or something. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of helping me to understand like this client's psyche or something. Um, and after giving them all of that, and they're like, oh, this is nice, we can go ahead with this. They finalized. And I just asked them, do you usually print like jerseys for people who are running like marathons and doing all of that with you? Like, yeah, we do. Like, would you like to design that? Have you designed it? I'm like, no. Do you do it? I'm like, sure. Then I went into that and like creative
Mhm.
partnerships with them, like for their social medias and stuff. And yeah, I used to always see to kind of see if they want some, like if they want people to come in just for like every single day purposes. So it was like long term money from me for me from one client, so I didn't have to go and look for 10 clients rather than work 10 projects with one client, if that makes sense. And yeah, that was really fun, and I used to just go and just check out local businesses and ask them if they need any help, and that usually helped out.
Yeah, that answers a lot of questions, and I think I can relate to that also. But I think is ki, most of the people right now in the job scenario, people who are doing job, they're not able to satisfy themselves in the job itself. So talking about freelancing is a very long way. But you managing both of the things was very interesting. Uh, Moving ahead, I think I used to do the same thing, like having a job, having a college, as well as doing freelancing. So that was what I was been doing for the past 2 3 years, and it helped me a lot. But is there
Yeah.
anything that was very personal to you that made you in a spot where you were having clients, uh, as you mentioned that you got a very good client, but was there anything personal that you did apart from this, talking about telling people that you do something, because we all know about those things, a lot of people know about those things, but was there anything else that helped you be always like having work and make more money than your job? Anything else?
Oh, I think financial situation definitely.
How?
We were not in the good financial situation at that point. Like I said, we had a lot of
Mhm.
freelancers in my family, and we used to
Mhm.
always have these dips of up and downs. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm at that level, and I'm an adult right now.
Mhm.
Let me help out as well. Let me get in some money for my family. I can do that and
that
all of that. And I was
that's the
really
spirit,
happy
yeah.
because the thing is that's a really good push, and you kind of go into that adult shoes very quickly rather than, oh, let me just take a couple of years off and let me just do my thing. So the start of it, I have seen a lot of my family members having their own businesses and their own freelancing experiences, but no one took business seriously. They were doing things for their own self, which is really amazing, but uh, it didn't used to yield a lot of money. So that was like my first question getting into all of this, like, can this yield a lot of money, or am I just dreaming into something that I'll work and work and work, but I won't get a lot of money out of it, right? And I think it should be even for the long run that I should keep on increasing my charges, or at least increase getting money out of it. And I think that was the challenge. Rather than I want to design something big, I want to see how much I can earn. That was the challenge at the first point. And I think I got into the whole field thinking about, let's see if I can merge like my creative aspects as well as the business aspect of it together, because I'm not that great at business in general. I still get yelled at by my friends like, what are you doing? You don't have someone who can do like business development for you? Are you crazy? But like, this is something that you learn. Like, this is how you learn usually. And yeah, I think that was earning more money was like my trigger at the point, because I really wanted to be an adult and help out my family. I didn't want to ask money from them at all. So that was like a good trigger for me, which really
That
helped,
answers
by
the
the
question.
way.
Yeah, that is something
Yeah,
very
no,
personal. I think that. Mhm.
it is. And I have talked about this recently as well, but
Mhm.
it really helped out because all of my, when the COVID hit like 5 years back, right? Yeah, 4 years back or something. Um, I was earning really well. I was well settled in. I was earning a lot of money in COVID, which was really nice. Like then my family could
Mhm.
calm down and settle in, then they didn't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
So I think it helps in general in life to be stable and actually even look forward for the future aspect of it. Because I think we are working for money, right? Other than if it's not for money, then I would not take money and I would just call it a hobby. So yeah, if I want
Everyone
to
is
do it
working
right,
for money.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, then let's get
money is the
money.
biggest motivation and the biggest.
It is,
Uh,
it is.
yeah. So moving ahead, let's talk about something like some challenges that you faced in your early career
Mhm.
as a freelancer, and what challenges you faced as a studio owner right now. But like how different are they?
I think it's very similar. I think the only
What?
difference that you see now is like for the studio, as a
Mm,
studio owner, it is just the same problem. It's bigger now. That's the only problem. As a freelancer, I used to be really um, kind of scared in going out and talking, because I am kind of a very chill person to talk to. I don't take things very seriously, but uh, kind of like measuring what you say was difficult for me. I didn't want to joke when the tension was high
mm,
up in the client's room or something, and I'm a very introverted person. So if something like if something goes off, I think my what do you call it, like my dad joke brain just kicks in and I have to make a joke to not make it like that nervous or something. So I think getting that communication skill in was the biggest challenge I have faced. I think I'm pretty good at it now, but that was the biggest challenge I faced. And when I started to hire a lot of people and do the whole studio thing that I have to do, I again, like, the communication challenge just spiked up really bad, because at that point I have to tell people on or delegate work. I'm really bad at delegating work, because I'm like, oh, I can do this on my own, you don't bother or something. And then my mom was like, you are paying them to work. I'm like, yeah, makes sense. But I'm really bad at delegating work, and even that is a communication challenge in the end. Or like asking more money from the client because I have salaries to give now, or all of these things. And it's different, but I think communication was the biggest challenge for me. Like, if you ask anybody, maybe in my university or something, like other people rather than my like two or three friends core group, I didn't need to mix much in anybody. I used to just come to college, do the college stuff, go home, and I was happy with it. So yeah, that kind of bite me in the ass when I kind of grew up and I had to do the networking stuff. Um, but yeah, hopefully we all learn from our mistakes.
yeah, that is the thing. So that was very interesting, I would say. I think I speak in this word interesting a lot in this podcast, in every podcast usually, because every insight that the guest and you uh, tells us is really interesting, because nobody knows what goes behind the life of a designer, to what things that we
Mm,
did and what mistakes we did. Nobody talks about it, and I think
yeah.
that is the main reason why I started this. So uh,
Mm.
one thing that I would like to ask about, like when we met in the event, you mentioned that your dad is a very big fan of Marvel. So all those things, did it impact your creative thinking or your creative journey? Anything in any way?
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
us more about
I
that.
think
Yeah.
both. Both of my parents are very whimsical, by the way. I think most of I have like way cooler parents than me, so I was like the least cooler person in the family. My
Mhm.
mom is like a professional trekker. She has her degrees in Indology and archaeology, and yeah, my dad is like he works in a normal industry, but he absolutely loves biking. And I think he is the one who started to hook me up with a lot of Spider-Man and X-Men when I was growing up, which was really fun to watch. And yeah, I think once I started to watch all of this, I think it started to spark a lot of creativity in me. And I think they both used to kind of tell me to think a bit differently rather than ask why on why these things are happening, and that kind of made me start to think in a very different way. And now that I see into all of this, like normal parents and how they parent and what my parents did, I'm like, you guys were crazy. And I'm so thankful for them on how they have parented me and like kind of pushed me into the right direction. And whenever I used to ask them, like, oh, do you think I should do this? And they were like, oh, that's your decision. You choose. And imagine me telling you, like, you should do this and you didn't like it, you would put it on me. So you decide what you want to do, but make sure you have a plan A, plan B, and plan C, because in the end, that's your life. And that made me very cautious about whatever decisions I was taking, what thoughts I had, and everything. And that's really good because once I used to take the decision, I was really happy with it because I've gone through like all like A's and B's and pros and cons, right? So I think that definitely helps, and I would say I'm very lucky when it comes to that front.
Yeah, that was very interesting. The moment I heard that your father was a fan, your dad was a fan of Marvel, I was absolutely
Yes.
shocked, and it all clicked me out. That's why she's so creative. So just a random thought. So my
Yeah,
parents are also like a very supportive. Like they don't force anything, but they don't understand what I do.
that's good.
I come from a very small village, Azamgarh, Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah.
But thing is, ki
Mhm.
at this moment right now, like I'm having a good life as a creative, as a designer, but still, except
Mhm.
my father and mother, nobody in the family, either my mother's side or my father's side, understand what exactly I do. I am still an
Mhm.
engineer for them in a Bangalore, doing a job, getting money. That's it. So it was a bit very
No, I think
challenging for me
we
to
always
make
have
them. Yeah, yeah, go on.
we always have this like person in our life. They don't understand what we do. So I remember just sitting with these people, like, sit with me, let me show you what I do and how
Yeah,
it is applied. And I used to scroll on these things and I'm like, this is what I do. And they're like, ah, okay. Because they used to
the
just
fir-
assume, oh, you are in advertisement. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm in advertisement.
the first thing my family people think about when I hear a designer, अच्छा fashion designer है, कपड़ा बनाता है.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
I'm
No,
like,
no, I think
how?
next time you should just be like, no, no, not fashion designer, interior designer.
Yeah, some people think about that also.
I
Do
mean,
you do
even till
interior
now, like
also?
whenever I see, even whenever I say to people like, oh, I have a BFA, bachelor's in fine arts, like, oh, you've done finance. How did you go to arts? I'm like, oh man, it's a big journey. How should I start and where should I start? But it's fun sometimes to pull the leg.
Yeah, that works, no issues. So let's talk about your studio. Let's talk about things that matters the future. So tell us about your studio. Tell us about me studio, how it came, and you name the name also. Like, was there any other name that you thought of?
There were few names, but the thing is,
Hmm.
at that point, the only thing that was coming back to me. So starting the studio, I just started it because I had to register something. It was like within few days I had to register like my a name of a studio or something so that the client can start giving me payments.
Okay.
It was like like a lot of years back, but I had to just do it because of it. I'm like, I'll change the name in the future. Um, and I used to always hear from my clients like, would this work for me? Would this be great for me? Do you think this would work for me? It was always me, me, me.
Oh,
When it comes to it, and I'm like, oh, me would be nice, like me studios, me studios. But I think, yeah, then my mom came in and she's like, oh, what if you do like MEE, because that's your last two letters,
yeah.
and you just like it's M and double E. I'm like, oh, that's much more fun. That's much more fun. And it was like a
Mm,
silly thing. And it was supposed to be like an independent studio of an individual. So it was just supposed to be me just working in it. So again, me working in it,
okay,
I was trying to be a little bit funny. Me by Maitreyi. So I thought it would be like a nice, cool name. And it has a ring to it when I would love to maybe like print like shirts and stuff. So yeah, I just registered it and it has been going on. So I'm like, yeah, I like it. It's fine.
that is interesting. I thought like most of the cases, the name of the studios are very personal to the founder and the owner. So it was
I mean, it
something
is
like,
kind of personal,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be personal because it is
Yeah.
your studio. Yeah.
It is me,
So
yeah. Sure.
exactly. So at that time, were you planning to like hire people, or they were just starting it for yourself when you were naming the studio?
Oh no, I actually already had some people under me at that point, and I didn't know I had to register a studio because it was like long time back. And we I At that point I used to do a lot of restaurant brands in Pune, and we used to also go and do a lot of murals on the walls and everything for the restaurants. When you're entering and everything, and I used to just hire people. And like at that point, I started to file my taxes and all. And my CA told me like you have to register because you are paying vendors and all of that. It's good to have like a name to a company. I'm like, okay, makes sense. And I think, yeah, at that point, I'm like, okay, I think I should think about the business side of it as well.
Yeah, the most dangerous thing that as a creative
Yeah,
business.
it is. It is. It is boring as well.
But that's the important thing. That's what will
Yeah.
keep us getting clients. करना पड़ता है.
Yeah, sadly, करना पड़ता है, क्या करें?
So yeah, moving ahead, talking about more about your studio. Would you consider your studio as like a specialized or specialist in a particular field of design, or it is multidisciplinary and you take projects
It
of all
is
kind?
we are a
So
very
what?
multidisciplinary studio. Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of projects do you love the most?
Ooh, I think, like I said, people in my team, they are also very multidisciplinary as well. They're also very artistic as well as
Mhm.
they are into digital design as well. So they love to draw and sketch and everything, as well as do the whole digital part of it. And we are all into like let's learn web now, or let's learn NFTs, what's going on there, and we are kind of into everything, and that I think keeps us all together because I think most of our brain just works very similarly. But right now, so I think even Me Studios had its own phases. At the start, we started with a lot of branding and everything. Then we went to a lot of illustration part of it. Then we just went into strategies. Then we just went and did a lot of strategies. At that point, I thought like I needed some other experience as well. I kind of dissolved the studio for a bit, just turned down a lot of people. They were working freelance or like contract basis as well. And I was like, I need to kind of level up myself. So I dialed down the whole studio thing and I was working as a freelance or as contract or as consultant art directors and creative directors with big brands, just helping them kind of get everything together on what campaigns can be done, kind of managing them from the outside consultant perspective. And that helped me a little to kind of gain my knowledge as well. Um, and then I started the studio again. And like, yeah, I think with my extensive knowledge after I built, I'm like, I think I should get back into packaging design, which is something that challenged me and scared me at the same time. Then we did a lot of packaging designs. Like I think one of the biggest ones we did was for Aryan Khan's brand, which is the Avol whiskey. It was really fun to work with them as well. And yeah, we are still doing a lot of tech packaging brands right now, but we are kind of stepping apart from it and we are trying to be like creative partners to a lot of companies now because we get to work with them every single month. So if you are working on one project at a time, like once you hand it over, it's like your baby is gone and you have so many ideas in your brain about that specific baby.
Mhm.
And then you don't get to work on that baby anymore. So I'm like, oh, how would it be if we start working with them every single month and building campaigns and building their visual ecosystem and language. So we are
Mhm.
doing that right now. So let's see where this goes.
That is interesting, and I think that is important also, because
Mm.
sometimes what happens is that we create something, we have a different vision, and the client uses it completely differently,
Yeah,
even after giving them guidelines, but still
yeah,
they mess up.
that will happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that is going to happen. So would you like to tell us about your process? Is it something different? Is it something unique to you?
Nope. It is
Hmm.
always unique to the client because
Okay.
not two clients are the same. There have been projects that we have literally done within 11 days. And there have been projects that has gone for like 12 months, like one like visual design branding project. No matter how great
Mhm.
you are, sometimes when two companies come together or two heads come together, there is going to be a conflict in there. So you have to kind of build your own process for the specific client that you have. So once we see that the client is a bit confused, we have a bit more of an extensive process. But if we know that the client is a bit more chill and the client trusts you on a lot of stuff, like for example adp list as well. So we did a couple of branding projects for them, and Felix, who's the founder, he trusted us completely with it. He used to come in once or twice just for the feedback. So when that thing used to happen, it was easy for us to build like a complete visual identity and ecosystem within like 7 11 days, so yeah, I think it depends on the client. So our process usually change, our milestones change because of the client. There are a few clients who don't like to get on a call at all, and they are fine with the emails and we get it done quickly. But there are some clients who love to sit on the calls with us while we are designing, like for half an hour, 15 minutes or something, because they cannot visualize what we are trying to tell them, which is again understandable, and that's why they hired us.
Mhm.
So I think it depends on the client and how our process kind of goes ahead for the project.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. A different client, different process, different mindsets.
Yeah,
You cannot treat everything equally. So
yeah,
that makes sense. I've experienced this as well, and a lot of other fellow designers might have also experience. Some clients are like so good that the project goes so smooth that you don't even realize, and there are
yeah,
projects that are keep going, keep changing. The iterations are not never ending. They are like
yeah,
छोटा कर दो बड़ा कर दो. There are a lot of memes as well.
yeah, yeah,
So
makes sense.
talking about like this whiskey wala and Dehavol, right?
Yeah.
That was a very interesting project. I personally love that. I would love to like get a chance to work on something like that. I would might try.
Mhm.
So let's see. So would you like to tell us more about that project? How did you landed up that client, or
I think
how it
it's
went, the whole
networking.
experience?
It is networking. Like, so I worked
Mhm.
with Oliver Agency and as their internal consultant art director for I think 3 4 months. And I got to know a lot of people at that point, and they needed our studio's help even after that. So after that, we worked with them as a studio, not just me individually. So as a studio, we worked on a lot of Budweiser stuff. We worked on a lot of Hogarden stuff. We did a lot of Hogarden packaging as well at that point. We did a lot of Corona, like the beer Corona. So most of the beer brands we have worked on it, like Seven Rivers, we have worked on it. And yeah, I think I knew a lot of people because of it. And when our contracts ended, I think there was one of the lead marketing. There was one lead. I think she was in. Yeah, I think she's in marketing. Let me rephrase that. Hold on, because I don't want to get this wrong. Otherwise, she'll be get mad at me. Hold on.
Okay,
um, so one of the lead people who has been leading all of this with AB and Bev, which is the parent company of Budweiser, Hogarden, Corona, and everything, she reached out to me saying that there is one more brand that we have taken under AB and Bev, which is Diavol, which is Aryan Khan's brand, and we would love to get like a packaging design done for it. I'm like, I would love to do it, and I think that project was even finished within 2 weeks or something, and it was fun to work with them.
that is interesting. 2 weeks for that. Sometimes it goes for a year.
Again, that client is really amazing. Like
Mhm.
people from their end as well who used to come and just check the work out, and the feedbacks were constructive. They were not just feedbacks, so we didn't like it. They were constructive feedbacks. They were something like, I don't think our language is supposed to be this way. I think we need it to be a little bit loud, or we need it to be a little bit of a splash with the crown that is their logo. And those things kind of help me, rather than, oh, we don't like it, I don't like it. That's very general feedback. So having those feedbacks is really amazing, and that's what makes the client really good.
Absolutely, absolutely correct. I would say so. Yeah, I thought it must have taken you like 6 months for that project
No, no,
because.
no. It's usually clients. So if you ever get to work with these big clients,
Mhm.
like big clients, which you will very soon, they are always in a hurry.
Okay.
Always in a hurry. So they'll be like, "Oh, we wanted it yesterday," you know. So yeah.
Nice. Cool. That was very interesting. I thought like bigger clients, bigger timeline, but it is opposite.
No, 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 no. So I think the bigger the client is, the more they are looking towards the ROI of it, and not just
Okay.
the beer clients that I'm talking about. The other clients also that I've worked with from Korea as well as Europe as
Mhm.
well, and all of them. The bigger the name is, I think the quicker they want stuff, because a lot of things are dependent on you at that point. So startups, usually there is no such system yet, right? But if there are like bigger clients, you need to get it approved from the lead person, then it goes to the marketing people. If it works, then you have to check out the history, if there are any politically incorrect slangs or anything, because I used to do a lot of illustrations as well for US based clients, and specifically UCLA. I've done a lot of illustrations for them, and we have to be very. I usually am very conscious about the kind of skin colors I'm using, or like hair colors I'm using, or am I using just thin women, or there's a lot of stuff that goes around, and the bigger the client is, the more high stakes there are. So I think you have to be very conscious on the work that you're providing and the quality of it.
That is also important. So talking about illustrations, we all know that you're very active on social media with your illustrations, wallpaper, and a lot of things. So
Yeah.
do you think like those are not client projects? Absolutely, we all, as we can assume, right?
Which one?
Those illustrations and wallpapers, those are not client projects. Those are like
No.
you are creating for yourself. So talking about
Not
create,
all of
hmm,
them. Not all of
okay,
them. There are a lot of projects that are for
okay,
clients in there. Yeah.
but mostly like creating illustrations for yourself. Do you think like it helps you being more creative? Like,
Of
is it a
course.
bigger source of creativity for you, or is there some more sources for creativity for you?
No. Illustration. I absolutely love
Illustration.
illustration, because I feel everybody should try their hand into art and illustration, because that is a way more abstract way of learning how to place things and how to balance colors and shapes and hierarchies, and what is your main character, what are your sub characters. That would definitely play a big role when you start designing as well. So hierarchy, layouts, everything, illustration will definitely help you out.
That is interesting. So the thing is, the reason behind this question was
Mhm.
creativity is a very subjective thing, and we all know that creative inspiration, people mislead with that Pinterest and all those boards. Like initially in the early stage, people think like
Yeah,
inspiration लेना है चलो Pinterest पे चलते हैं यहाँ पे, but it is more than that. Creativity is a
yeah.
lot more than that. So what do you think? Would you like to share on how and where you take creative inspirations, and
Oh,
what has been the best source of inspiration apart from Pinterest?
I
Absolutely.
mean, I think I go on to Pinterest, I think the second or third time after like the main keywords and key
Mhm.
brainstorming has been done from my end, and the path I want to take and the basic concept that are done. Because if I look at Pinterest for the first time, I think I get influenced, and sometimes that subconsciously you start copying whatever you see on Pinterest, and that has happened with me before. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that again. I mean, yeah, you learn from your mistakes. So I think now I have started to do a lot of different things rather than the digital inspiration part of it. So there are small things that I usually do. I started to paint again, which is really fun. I think I've showed this again, like, so I started painting like my coasters that I have, or I have like different caricatures, or like I have a lot of illustrations and postcards that I have on my wall and everything. So yeah, that is something that kind of pushes me to find that creative aspect that I was looking for. And I think surrounding yourself about like with good colors and clean environments, which is sometimes really hard, by the way, to clean like the space. But I think that sometimes helps to get your creative juices flowing. So I would suggest have a lot of colorful abstract work around you. Invest into good magazines and design books. That would definitely help you out. And not it doesn't always have to be like design books. It can be something else that really inspires you as well. It can be like an animation book or a cookbook or something, and yeah, that can push you as well.
Yeah, I think that answers a lot. Uh, Taking inspiration and having a good source of inspiration for me has been a nature. Nature is like how
Yeah.
beautiful it is. Been like going to rides and treks and all. So I'm a very active person outside. चले जाते हैं कभी भी मन किया तो random. Been to
Actually,
Ooty,
ठीक है.
been to Ooty
Nice.
just after a creative block and a burnout. So that was something very relatable, and that was the biggest reason that I wanted to understand what people think about creativity and how they take inspiration and how they take handle these things. So talking about
I
burnouts
think
and
travel,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
burnouts. Oh, go for it. Ask the
Yeah,
question.
yeah. I
I'll
was
answer it.
about to ask, like, talking about
Yeah.
creative block and burnouts.
Mhm.
How has you been experienced? Like, sorry, galat bola, but still, like, what has been your experience with handling these things? Because no one can escape this. Yeah, you know.
No one can escape it. And I think you should escape to escape it, you know? I think you have to kind of escape somewhere to escape it.
That usually happens.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, I am a huge fan of traveling. I absolutely love traveling. I think I've been traveling and trekking since I was like a baby or something, and I was forced to go on treks and travels with my mom and my dad. And I absolutely love still doing it. I am a huge advocate for solo travels. It can be a bit scary, but travel solo as much as you can travel solo. Are you
Yeah,
okay?
go on. Sorry, pani
Okay.
chala
No,
gaya tha.
it's fine.
हाँ,
It's fine. It's
yeah.
fine. So yeah, I would suggest travel solo. I think traveling is really amazing, and when you have people with you, is really amazing as well, and you go out around with them. But when you travel solo, I think you become a way more alert on what things are going on around you, rather than just your friends who are there with you. You become alert about your surroundings. You start going to things what makes you feel inspired, you know. If you're with a group, you kind of sometimes tag along with them wherever they want to go. So I think traveling solo has changed a lot of stuff for me. And whenever I go, and wherever city I go or country I go, I usually go and check design colleges out or design exhibitions if they have any. It's really fun to see what people are doing in their like schools and colleges as well. So travel as much as you can.
So yeah, that was a very interesting thing. I saw a couple of videos on traveling and all, and we used to make videos and all. So even for this collecting inspiration for Uti video, we made 50 GB of content. And it was so hard for me to transfer that because I never thought like 5 GB gaya hoga. But then we realized that कि we were trying fake drone shots, we were trying vlogs, we were trying different things. So for me and for us as a friend, we used to enjoy these things, going
Yeah.
out in nature and creating and shooting videos. So as a
Mhm.
hobby, I loved that. So I recommend everyone as whoever is in the creative field to have
Yeah.
something apart from their main thing, like have apart from
Yes.
design, apart from making logos, sitting on a desk, uh,
Yeah.
going out and all those stuffs. So uh, moving ahead, one more important thing that I would like to talk about your personal experience, that
Hmm.
activities and communities. So you are super active
Yeah.
in communities, and
Mhm.
you talk a lot about networking. You have got a lot of clients also from networking. So
Mhm.
how it all started, how we became part of different communities, if there was a community before EDP list or something like that. So where did it all started and how?
Again, I think it started from understanding your
Hmm.
weaknesses. I think I understood that my weakness is being an introvert. So unless and until I'm pushed into a community, I think it would have been really hard for me to form a community or be around people, you know. Sorry.
Issues, no issues.
So I think having a community specifically in the creative field, I think that is really, really important. And um, I think we didn't have as much as a community in college, but being around so many creative people was uh, like a it was like a big inspiration for me. So I would suggest have communities around you. It started when I got out of college, and that inspiration just died down because there were not a lot of creative people around me. And I'm like, where am I going to get that inspiration from? So when I was in college, you know, seeing people just randomly making their masterpieces on like canvases or like paintings and sketching and doing some digital work, that was so really, really fun and so inspiring. After getting out of that, it wasn't that inspiring. I didn't see a lot of people around me doing that crazy stuff. So I thought like I need a community, and for that I went online to check if I can find any design events or communities online. And this was around 2016 or 17, if I'm not wrong. There were barely any design studios in India like doing I think big events or design like activities or anything, workshops even. And I found dribble meetups. If I'm right, dribble used to do a lot of meetups. I think they still do, but there were like a couple of meetups that I attended. There was Adobe who was doing a lot of meetups in Pune, which was really fun. And I used to just randomly go and just sit at these events. I'm like just alone and didn't know anybody. But you know what? I still get projects from those events that I attended in 2017 and 18. So it is that bizarre. It is so bizarre when it comes to that. And um, I think randomly I should just go like, "Oh hi, how are you? I am this. What do you do? I do this. Let me know if you ever need help when it comes to illustration or branding. This is my card." And one amazing thing that I used to do is I used to have my illustrations on the back of the card, and it's to have like four only three illustration choices, and I used to tell people like, pick your card, and then they used to pick one illustration out of it, and a lot of people still have those cards because it has an illustration at the back of it. And I still get clients because of those. And yeah, I think finding those nicks and knacks definitely helps. And after that, I went into I got to know about Christo and the future as well. I got into that community, which was really amazing, and I found out the power of community and how design kind of boosts you. Specifically, like if people are around all around the globe, you get double the inspiration and double the references for like the design work that they have done and all of that. So I'm like, oh, I need some community. And when I came to Bangalore, everything was new. I literally had two friends in Bangalore at that point, and I didn't know anybody, and we were just coming out of the lockdown. And I'm like, I need something really bad. And one of my friends told me about ADP List. It was just starting out. It was for product designers, UI and UX people. And yeah, I talked with the founder, and they're like, "Oh, you are a freelancer. Would you love to do a mentoring on there? We've never tried this before as much." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Let's try it out." And so it began, the journey of
The
being in the
journey
community.
begins. The events and communities is the reason that we are having this podcast. I met you, and that helped a lot. And I've been trying. I'm pretty young, so I don't have a lot of experience in terms of events, but uh, I try to go as much as I can. Even I had an
Yeah,
event at today itself, but I thought कि जाने देते हैं बाद में करते. But it happens.
Bangalore has really good events, which is nice
Bangalore is
actually.
next level. That is
It's
the reason that I came here, because
yeah.
I came to Bangalore when I was in my seventh semester, eighth semester between that. So I had one more semester of college to complete, but I had a job, so I don't have to go to classes. So I don't have to study engineering, and I don't have to stop designing. So that was the biggest reason that I came to here, so that I can design full time. Like on a 24 day, 20 hours of day, I can design, dedicate my time to design instead of any distraction. So and the fun thing, the moment I college completed, I got my exam. I don't have to do exam, don't give exam. So they gave me an like 9 CGPA just because I was having a good research paper, and the research
Mm.
paper was on a branding project that I did in this job. So it all helped a lot. But the fun
That's
fact,
great.
the moment I completed my college, I quit the job because I was bored. It was going good, 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 but अब नहीं मजा आ रही है. That now this thing
But
is now.
how did you feel? Like, what was your experience like shifting to Bangalore and getting into the whole design community as well as
Ah,
the
great.
full job that you are doing?
Getting to understand that how little I know. Yeah, because there is a quote that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So that is the thing that I'm experiencing here. Meeting a very wonderful designer who is now my flatmate as well. Like I moved in with him because he's a great designer, the biggest reason.
Nice.
And yeah, he's more of an introvert person, but he's a great designer and a great friend. तो सबसे बड़ा अच्छा हुआ तो यही हो गया कि and I met this person in the same job, and we both resigned in a month between का time. So
Interesting.
बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग रहा है बैंगलोर का जर्नी एंड लेट्स सी हाउ इट
Definitely.
गोज. So any plans for the future any future plans with the communities, like any plan with starting off your own, anything like that? You mentioned something like that, yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, I used to
Hmm.
do a lot of workshops and like pop up shops of mine and everything like long time back. Even in Pune, I used to do like meetups and stuff.
Hmm.
But I kind of found out that I need to start something of my own as well. So wanted to start I want to start something cool. I will announce it hopefully soon. Most of the things are done for on that behalf, but even my team in me studios, even they are really hyped up about it, and we are actually really excited to do it. But wanted to start something really fun for a lot of cities in India specifically. So hopefully, hopefully we'll announce it
I'm
very
waiting.
soon.
We are
And
absolutely waiting for it.
that will be help. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I just don't want to be like a meetup situation. I also want to, like I said, I got really sad when I left my college because I didn't see anyone around me creating anything. So hopefully that will change things, even for me. I would be like the first guinea pig to see how it works.
Acha, talking about communities, what is the one thing that you find absolutely wrong? Like this is not, this should not happen in terms of like meetups or communities or anything. Do you think there is anything,
I
or is
mean, there
everything
have
going
been
good?
a lot of, I mean, I don't think so. I don't think
Mhm.
anything is purely good or purely bad. And I think you do certain things and then you learn. But I think there are a lot of communities who take a lot of money but give absolutely zero value. you know
Yeah,
I think that would be something like, if you're giving good value, then definitely charge money, definitely, because
yeah,
people would love to charge money for good value of any community or anything.
definitely.
And specifically working with someone like Felix with ADP list, they don't charge anything for their meetups. So I'm
Yeah,
like, if you can get such good value for free, then if you are charging something, then it should definitely get good value out of it. But there are communities that I've seen, not a lot, which is great, but there are few communities that I've seen which don't give as much value as much money that they take. So yeah.
yeah. That answers. I hope we get to hear about your community soon, so we can be a part of that.
Yeah.
Very
Hopefully
excited.
soon, hopefully soon.
Definitely,
I'm
definitely.
excited
So
too.
it's been 1 hour. I would like to wind this up soon, but we have very one important segment, the whole idea of this
Sure.
podcast, which is scaling the right way. Staying small, having a very small team, but doing works with big brands like you do. So let's talk about scaling. What do you actually feel, or what do you actually mean by scaling in terms of business, in terms of design, in the creative industry?
When I say scaling, or when I say
Hmm.
in general growing, I personally always see it from my end. Like personally, if I'm scaling myself in the skills that I have and then the quality that I have, because
Hmm.
if I do scale myself in a personally in a good way, I
Hmm.
think I give way more quality to the client as well. So I feel if I don't scale myself, I don't. What am I giving to the client in the end? So I would say scaling yourself is way more important than scaling your studio, because if you are like a good benchmark for your studio, I think your teammates will definitely follow you. But you should always keep on scaling when it comes to like soft skills and even software skills or whatever you need to get there. But continuously having those references coming in, or like the inspirations coming in and everything, is definitely really important. And having a good network who can give you the work that you are happy about. If I'm happy as well as I'm giving quality to my clients, for me that's I've reached, that's my peak. I've scaled, and also charging a bit more. I think one of my mentors, one of my mentors, I think we all know Christo. He's the person who kind of pushed me to charge more, and that is something that kind of changed my life. And we used to have this conversation about how should a person charge, and there was a lot of back and forth, and because of him I started to think about it in a very business perspective. And I always thank him when it comes to that.
Tell us more about this. How did you like from X to up to what? How did you go charging more?
From what?
From
Charging more.
like, yeah, charging more. How did you went?
I mean, I think slowly when I started to understand what design is about, it is about, again, solving a quote unquote problem. But in the end, how close can you get to the client's expectations as well? Solving a problem is a different thing, and getting to the client's expectation is a different thing, because solving a problem in the creative field, there are infinite answers to it, right? But in the end, it's the client's baby. It's in the end, it's the client's company. It's in the end, it's the client's products. So you also have to be very customized for them. Not one solution can go around with them. Like I know a lot of designers being like, oh, this is my style and this is how I'll do it for you. That's not gonna work, because no, I've said this in my videos as well before, like no two clients wants to look the same unless and until it's a collaboration, right? Because I have worked with a lot of brands as a collaboration, which is like, let's say, Budweiser X Maitreyee, which I've done, or like OnePlus X Maitreyee. At that time, it is Maitreyee's work that they want ahead. They don't want a lot of OnePlus coming in. But I've also done some work for OnePlus, where we just did like OnePlus illustrations for them on their reels,
Okay.
or even Budweiser's work. We have done it. It's just Budweiser. I don't want me to show there at all anywhere. So I think understanding that difference of what your client wants rather than what you want to do is a different thing, because in the end it's their problem, it's their product, it's their company, it's something that they should be proud of. Kind of scaling that particular solution for like next 5 years. So once I understood that specific value, I think I started to scale really, really quickly. And I think just charging up high. And again, Chris, if you're watching, Chris just told me
I
like, if
hope.
you are charging, Chris just told me like, oh, if you're charging the same amount for like twice the times, like 2 times in a row, if you're charging the same amount and the client is okay with it, that means you have to scale.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, interesting. Because there have been times when I'm like, I do this illustration, and the client is usually like, oh, how much do you charge? And in my head, when I was just starting out, I was like, oh, yeah, $50. I don't know, because it was a foreign client. Like, I don't know, $50, $100, which is like a lot. And I just asked them like, I don't know exactly how much illustration like in detail you want, so can you please tell me how much your budget is? And they're like, oh, it's not much, it's just $800, can you do that in it? I'm like, sure. Sure.
Sometimes it helps. Yeah.
It helps, yeah. And like
So,
when they usually give me like a bigger budget, I'm like, let's go all out then.
ah,
Like I do like a very intricate illustration, I'll do like two of them for them or something. Then I go all out, because then I get money, I am happy. And I also do a lot of illustrations for them. So it's a win-win situation.
yeah, exactly. Like money is the biggest motivation, and if we love the work, क्या चाहिए अब?
I mean, I
So,
have to buy all these things. My
hmm.
Adobe subscription is not that cheap anymore. Yeah, it's cost.
Adobe sucks a lot of money.
Yeah.
I wish I was still a student. I was paying like 1,000 or below 1,000. Now I have to pay 3,000. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. Like still the student subscription is even cheaper. It is 700
Right,
per
yeah.
month. The student subscription.
That's nice. But that's the
But
thing,
बड़े हो
I'm
गए.
not. I
Hmm.
absolutely love Adobe. I absolutely love them, because the amount of softwares that they have together, they're
Ah,
integrated together, are amazing. Like
yeah.
nothing can beat After Effects, in my opinion, at least. There is an option for Premiere Pro, which is I think DaVinci Resolve,
DaVinci,
right?
yeah, for color correction and
Um,
professional users. But still, like,
exactly.
हम लोग के लिए ठीक है अभी. I just want
Yeah.
to make a reel. I'm happy with Premiere Pro. I don't need a DaVinci. Yeah.
Exactly, and because I do a lot of illustrations as well, right? So what I'm
Hmm.
doing is I do illustrations in Illustrator, which I absolutely love.
Hmm.
I'm not. I absolutely love Figma as well, but Illustrator is a bit more in depth,
Hmm.
I feel.
Yeah.
Like Figma is made for, I would say, product design, UI and
Absolutely.
UX
Yeah.
and all of that part. So Illustrator is really good for logo design, illustrations, and all of that if you're doing vector. So what I do is like I do illustrations in Illustrator, then I do it, take it in After Effects where I animate them, and I take it into Premiere Pro for a lot of effects and audios and colors and everything. And if I change one thing in Illustrator, everything changes, which
Ah.
is so
Yeah.
good, which is super good. So I absolutely love Adobe for the whole ecosystem that you have. And I mean, Adobe Dimension is really amazing, like for 3D people who are just starting out. So it's
Yeah. I
it's
tried
it's
Adobe Dimensions, but kind of looked very complicated. So I jumped to Blender.
no,
अब और
it's really fun.
complicated लग
Check
रहा
it
है.
out. Check it out. No, 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 no. Adobe Dimension is one of the best ways you can start, and then maybe you can
Hmm.
go to Blender or something. But Adobe
Hmm.
Dimension, start with it. It's really fun.
Cool. Got that right. So, talking about the studio and scaling, what
Mhm.
do you think people take wrong while they are scaling their agency or their business? What is the most common mistake have you experienced or have you seen people do?
I'll talk about based on my experience. I think
Sure,
not
sure.
marketing well,
Okay. Not marketing well.
or
Okay.
like not marketing well, or not doing like advertisements, or like not doing maybe e-commerce, or like not e-commerce, but I would say not doing like boosting your reels, or like putting money into actually getting your name out there. So I have been really lucky. I would say absolutely, really, really lucky that we have been working on only clients who have reached out to us, I think there's just one client that I've reached out till now, at least. So I've been lucky in that forte, really, really well. But imagine if I had reached out to a lot of people, which level would I have been? So, but yeah, I think having that someone who can help you scale yourself, I think, yeah, having person who can do BD with you, which is a business development, or someone who can help you market, or have funnels and talk about it with you, which is important as well. So I am doing that mistake, so don't be like me at all, and have someone who can help you market all of that stuff for you. Leverage
Yeah,
it now.
अंडरस्टूड सो आई थिंक इसमें सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ आता है आउटरीचिंग एंड reaching
Yeah,
out people to pitch your services, which I never tried and still I'm trying, and it is disastrous. Like बहुत
it
खराब
is.
experience है. I've sent over 100 mails, nobody replied, and I'm like, I'm getting clients inbound. Why do I need to do
Yeah,
outreach? But then you go and see every business coach or every business people is telling, oh, you are not doing outbound, you're not doing outreach. How are you going to sustain? How are you going
yeah.
to get lead generation and all those things? I'm like, it will take time.
I think in most of the businesses
Mhm.
in general, like business, not design, I'm saying, like
Hmm.
normal businesses, I think they always do the outbound stuff, right? But
Hmm.
when it comes to our work in the creative field, I've seen so many designers, I've talked with so many designers, successful designers. They all feel like if we do the outbound and outreach, it feels like begging or something,
Exactly.
which is absolutely true. And I feel like, oh, I don't want to do that, and that's why I never did it. Um, and but yeah, I think that's business. I think you go and get your clients and you work with them. So I don't know, I think there is some off switch that I have to pull on so that I can do all of that. I think your family is calling, you should call them back.
Mhm. I think so. That's
Yeah.
not like that is not my parents. It was someone else. No issues. So you were telling about, sorry बीच बीच में कट जा रहा है.
It's fine.
So you were
Yeah,
telling about
so outbound, do a lot of
outbound.
marketing, put
Yeah,
yourself out there.
you never did outbound, right?
Yeah. I just did it once.
What happened? Like how was the experience?
It was great. I'm still working with them.
Arey, that's great. So it worked.
It worked. It was 5 years back when I just started freelancing,
Hmm.
and I still work with them. They're amazing.
Okay, cool. So we will just keep this like brief because I have a lot of questions about scaling the right way. So I will move ahead and we'll talk about team members now. So like you have 5 team members, right?
Hmm.
Including you.
Yeah,
So what made you stick to 5? Why don't you scale to 10 or 20 or something like that?
I have done 20 before. It's not
What
fun.
happened? How was the experience? You told that you went back to
Yeah.
start.
No, it
So.
wasn't fun. It was good for that time
Hmm.
because we had really big clients at that point. So it
Hmm.
was good for that specific clients that we were working with. There was a lot of work that was going on. But when you have 20 people as a designer, you just become a manager. And I didn't get to create at all. And I was
Ah.
just doing the whole thing like, oh, this is fine, just send it. Oh, this is good, send it. What happened to you? Where are you? Like, all of that. And even though I used to have, at a point I did hire a manager like for a month just to see how it goes. But the other thing was like that manager didn't know like what is expected in design. So I had to tell him, and then he had to tell everyone. Then I'm like, you know what, middleman ko sarka do. मैं ही कर देती हूँ सब चीजें. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I want to absolutely would love to just create with a team. So this works for now. This works really well.
That's great. I think if you are happy with the work that you have and the people that you
Yeah,
have, that's okay. So I think it's like a lot of agency culture तो बहुत trend पे है right now. Every young person want to get into agency and make money, but
yeah,
creative agency and creative business is something different as compared to a normal business or normal
yeah,
service based business.
yeah,
So what everyone tells is like you need to delegate, you need people, you need to hire for everything that can be delegated. You need to
yeah.
hire people for everything that doesn't require you. And here I am doing everything that requires me as well as not require me. So we're
I think
trying.
one
Hmm.
of the I mean say bad and pro and con again.
Hmm.
It's 50-50. Is that I have put myself out there so much now. People know me for me, and they come to me for me. And they want me to work on everything, right?
Okay.
uh, which is great, but that's like a con as well because there is also a limitation on how much I can work on one thing. So again, like people, if you are trying to get yourself out there and making yourself famous, this will happen. Like either make your studio really famous and there are like people coming in and a lot of people are working on it together. Otherwise, if you become famous, then people would want you to come and do a lot of work. So yeah, I'm actually doing a lot of work at the same point and
That's
delivering
good
this.
also. Like if I talk about, I will like to add something here. As personally, I would like to explore how much money or how much, like at what extent I can go as an individual without hiring someone. So if I'm happy,
You
if I'm
can.
if I can,
You can. See, the thing
yeah.
is, you can definitely go. I know so many people who are individual designers and don't hire anybody.
Hmm.
They have they have literally crossed 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs within a year. Like aram se.
Hmm.
But again, the thing is, then you have to then just lock in and zone in, because that much amount of money when you are earning, it's not just the client work that you're doing. You're also doing a lot of outreach and networking, and you're putting yourself out there, making reels, editing them. There's a lot of stuff that goes out. Even if like you are not the editor, you give it to someone else. You're still shooting them, right? Planning them. You still have your family. You have your friends to go out with. Nothing, everything just cuts out, and you have to then zone in. It's fun, but again, everything has its pros and cons, so figure it out, and it's completely fine if you want to figure it out, work in it for a year or something and then go back. Do it. I have done it. It's completely fine. There is no shame in going back. Trust me on it. If you are happy, if you're not happy, it's completely about you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that is something that I wanted to speak or quote here. Ki it's okay to go back and
It is
rework on
okay.
something that you wanted to. So,
Because in the
hmm.
creative business I can still go back and dissolve my own studio and still earn the same money. So
Ah,
it's not the same as any other business. In a normal business you would need all these people coming in and working, otherwise you won't earn that much. But in creative business I can literally just work 2 days a week and still earn if I have good clients, you know. So creative industry and creative business are completely different. So do not put like a normal business
hmm.
rules and regulations on yours. So it's going to be really different. It's going to have its own problems, but try to figure those out. If you are not happy with it, don't don't go through because someone else is saying you to do it.
Or you see some reel. People
Yeah,
are
because it works
heavily
for them.
inspired with the content. Na?
Oh, one more thing I would say, like if
Hmm.
you're checking reels out and videos out, only check those people out who you actually look up to and whose work you see out there in the market. If you don't see their work out there, why are you following them? As a designer, they might be really good at business part, but then don't follow them as designers, you know. Follow them for like financial advice or business advice, but don't say that I follow a designer and you don't see their work out there at all. So be very mindful on who you follow, because nowadays anybody can buy a mic and a camera and a laptop and a headphones and stuff, and anybody can shoot content. So be very mindful on who you are following, because in the end, if that knowledge is not practical enough, they have not applied it for themselves, why are you listening to them?
Yeah, exactly. You don't know how true someone is speaking on a camera or on a podcast or video wherever you see. So you have to very. I tell a lot of people, and even as a creator, I create content also. So make sure that there are some work of mine also that I'm sharing with people, that I'm like, "हाँ, देखो, I do this. That's why I
Yeah.
create content about this." So
I mean,
you have
if
to
you
be authentic. Yeah.
you would have seen people
Hmm.
literally duplicating Christo or like Michael
Ah.
Janda and Matthew and Cena with whatever things that they are doing. They
Hmm.
are like pro people. They have been in the industry for like 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you know. They have
Hmm.
like Christo has like Emmy Awards and everything to prove that he has done the work, and that's why he's
Hmm.
teaching now. But you see people who are just starting out doing the oh my top five or whatever. I'm like, you don't know anything. You have not applied anything in your career, and like good for you if you've boomed out, but people who listen to them, it's just copy paste from someone else, so it's not their own experience. So make sure you are following who like really seasoned artists who have been in the industry for 30 years or 40 years. Follow them because they know what's and where the industry is going. Or people who are just starting out, if you see their content really out there and their work with actual clients, go follow them, but see the work, the actual applied work in the industry. That is way more important than my top five and your top five, you know.
Yeah, that is something like opinions. Those are opinions
Yeah,
of someone.
opinions. Yeah.
Yeah, that will not help you. So coming back to the topic, also one more thing I would like to ask: your experience with future, like this Chris Do. You also did some podcast with Matthew and Michael Janda. So how was your experience with all those things? Like it was all about networking, right? You got the opportunity because of networking. So how was the
Yes.
experience? How did it help you to your in your career, in your creative career?
I think we all look up to Chris, right?
Mm.
I think he's done a pretty, really good job when it comes to design education online, and specifically for free. A lot of it was for free. Yeah, I think same happened with me. I think I reached out to him in 2014 as to send him really bad things, like my bad work and everything. But yeah, he used to come up with like good constructive criticism for me. And yeah, when they had to shoot the I think Young Gun season 2, and I think we had a talk, me and Chris, and he was like, "Oh, do you wanna be a part of it?" Sure. That was another challenge for me because I don't I didn't used to do this a lot, like sitting
Okay.
in front of the camera and having a mic and everything and all of that. And it was scary. It was really scary. And specifically, we used to shoot it when it was nighttime, so it was like 2 a.m. and we used
Yeah,
to shoot
time
it.
zone difference. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like this, or like really hyped up on coffee, and I don't know what happened or what I said in those series, but we did it. But I think that is something that kind of pushed me to do video content and to talk and articulate stuff when it comes to design and everything. And I'm still trying to learn, but that experience kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone, which was really necessary for me at that point.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think that was a very huge achievement, I would say, for any designer here. It's because when I saw like your podcast with Matthew and your video in Young Guns, I was like, yeah, this is something that I would like, I can look up to.
Oh
Now
God,
now I
no.
don't even need to see her work. This is it. This is this is more than enough that any designer can achieve. Like, yeah,
God, yeah.
but
Yeah.
a lot more to go, I would
Yeah.
say. Looking forward. Emmy Awards जीतिए. So moving ahead, talking about the studio and the scaling about things. So do you think like is it very possible to make good amount of money while staying small and while working on limited work and taking limited projects? And if yeah, if it is possible, what are the things that are very important for this to achieve this?
So either you do outreach, so you
Okay.
have to reach to the client at some point.
Hmm.
So client is always one click away to get another designer. So you have to kind of stand out, right? In a way that you prove them that you have done a good job in your work. So not just the portfolio, but explain a little bit about how the portfolio was built. What was the problems, what were the solutions. So have like a good portfolio first. Either you do like an outreach and you send the people that you would love to work with about your portfolio, your resume and all of that, or you put yourself out there and let the clients come to you. So either you go or they come to you. It's one or the other. If you do both, great. You'll surpass a lot of people that are out there, even me, because I am not reaching out, which I should. But so that's the thing. I think have a good portfolio and have good communication skills. I think communication skills is one of the best things you can learn ever, because if you really want to get ahead in your business as well as in your freelance, even in your 9 to 5, having a good communication skill is never going to go wrong. Have good communication skills. It is always about how you can pitch yourself as well as your work. And like my mentor Chris said, clients always go to the least risky designer that they find. It's the least risky option. It's not always the good option. It's always the least risky option. I have also found that in myself as well. So whenever I'm hiring people, rather than hiring someone really good, I just met like a new person I met online, I won't hire them very quickly, because it's not a known devil. I have not worked with them. At least I know what can go wrong with the people I've hired before. So I usually always go back to the people I've hired before. So it's like a less risky option for me right now. So I think have that kind of a portfolio that people can come to you and can trust you on the way you work and the way you talk. One of the things that recently has helped me, which is like my YouTube videos. I personally do YouTube videos because I'm just trying to learn like the camera things and editings, and it's like a hobby for me specifically. But a lot of my clients who are recently coming in, they check out my YouTube videos and they say, we are like worlds apart, but looking at your YouTube videos, we know that you are trustworthy and you won't just vanish out of thin air after you get our money. Which is, I'm like, that makes sense. So have something that they can trust you towards. And Yeah, be the less risky option for them.
Yeah, being the safest option and being reliable, I would say.
Yes,
So
even if you're not
because
a good option, even see, if you check out my work, you will see so many people's better work than me. You can never be like the best designer out there ever, because there are so many people coming in and graduating every single minute from this world. So you're never going to be the best designer out there ever. So if people can hire someone like me, I have a very basic, neutral, safe design style. I don't have anything like out of the way or out of the park, like knocked it out of the park kind of a design style. So it's fine if you're neutral, but be like a very safe option for them, someone they can connect to, and they know that that she will understand, even if like the design option are going to be a bit neutral. It is completely okay, because that would work for the company overall, rather than someone who can do really abstract work and really art oriented work which their audience might not understand at all. So be a less risky option, be a safe option, like Vaibhav said. Yeah.
yeah, cool. So that I think that helps a lot. And there is one thing that I have experienced with a lot of people and a lot of designers also face, and I used to face as well, that not saying no to some projects, not saying no to projects, not saying no because of the fear of losing the money, because money is the biggest motivation. But
Yeah.
आता हुआ पैसा 1 लाख का प्रोजेक्ट आ रहा है क्यों छोड़े भाई. So
Hmm.
how what would you suggest about that? Like, is it okay to say no? What was your experience behind this?
I try not to say no to
Hmm.
a lot of projects.
What
I'm like,
happened?
so yeah, I used to say yes to everything, because at that point it was necessary. You should say yes when you're just starting out, because you don't know exactly what you like and what you don't like. Because at that point, when I was doing illustrations for a lot of Indian clients, I hated doing illustrations for Indian clients at that point, because they didn't used to pay much. It was like 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, at least the ones that reached out to me when I was just starting out. It wasn't much for an illustration. I'm like, this is what people earn when they're doing illustrations. That's not fun. And the thing is, I started to say no to Indian clients specifically when it comes to illustrations. Then I reached out to a couple of people, not reached out actually, I just told a couple of the design friends that I had online that I'm looking for an like illustration client or illustration project. And one of my first illustration project was with Made by James. I think we all know him from Instagram. So he was like
Definitely.
my first client. I did an illustration for him and he paid me really well. And I then understood, like, oh my God, like people can earn good money out of illustration. So say no to things which you know in your gut feeling that it's not going to work out at that point. But keep on experiencing into the same field, because you never know. Like there might be someone else who is better at communicating with you, who is a better client and can pay you well as well. So say no to things which you just feel this is not going to work out. We still, in our studio, we still work with startups who are just starting out and who don't have as much money, but we only do that when our like per annum quota is kind of filled, because even they need someone really pro to work with. So it's not about always money as such, it's always about the kind of client they can be.
That is something also important, because instead of fear of losing money, there are some
Yeah.
times when you have good money but the client is very toxic. You get that, you get the feeling. And then it happened to me a lot. Like I was like, chalo, job is going on, whatever client is coming, let's take it. And then I took it, and then the scope is worth 2 lakhs and the client budget is 10,000. I'm like, bro, bye. Can't work like this,
Yeah,
because it is like it won't work out. And if I don't say no, then it will take a lot of time and a lot of toll on a mental health. Like creative फिर चीज कम करने का मन ही नहीं करेगा.
exactly. I
You
mean,
will not enjoy this thing then. Yeah.
I've had like bad clients, like really toxic clients, but then pay
uh,
me really good money.
Acha.
You know,
That
either
is a
or.
different case, yeah, I would say.
Either or, yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
if I'm earning a lot of money from a toxic client at that point, like a lot of changes or continuously be pinpointing and hand holding us, it's fine. As long as we are like maybe cutting like our 6 months quota in that one project, then we can go
Yeah.
for our like hobby projects afterwards, like me and my team. So yeah, it's balancing it out. I always talk to my team, always talk to my team. So whoever has worked with me, I usually have a big conversation with them. Like, client has said something like this about you or something like this about me. Do you want to continue this or not? I literally have dissolved like big clients because they were toxic after talking to my team. Do you want to dissolve this? Yes. Bye bye.
Very very hard decision, but very important decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. So staying small, one of the biggest perk as well. But what challenges do you think it can bring or it might bring? Like what drawbacks can staying small have?
I think you don't earn as much, maybe as like big
Mhm.
studios, because you don't
Okay.
have as many resources, and if you just have like three or four people, even their time is limited. So if you have a lot of people to spare, kind of, and they all of them are not needed on the specific projects that you're working on, they can work on other projects that are going on, and they can go out for photographies and all of that stuff. So um, yeah, I think keeping people on back burner can be really good if you are in a good big studio, but for small studios you can't do that. Like you just sit for a while because we don't have projects for you right now and still pay them. But when we need them, they are available for us. So I would suggest you kind of lose on a lot of bigger projects where you need a lot of your own resources and not hire others. You also lose a lot of resources when you're hiring someone outside for like bigger clients that you're working on. And I think you can't even give like big perks to your bucks to your team as well, like taking them on
Mhm.
a trip or like giving them gifts or like bonuses or something, which I always try to do at least for the bonus part. But trips, I would love to do like something for them as well. But yeah, I think with a small studio, it's quite difficult, I'd say. Like completely paid by studio kind of a trip.
Yeah. But the thing is, when you decide to stay small, there are things that you want because
Mhm.
of the because of that you decided in the first place. Ki, like I don't want to compromise on things. I don't want a lot of people to manage and all those stuff. I want to focus on quality. Then you have to compromise on something, and that something comes to money, like the revenue that
Yeah,
you can make. So you have to be
yeah,
happy with that, I would say, because you
I mean,
cannot get everything with your terms, with on your terms.
yeah. And even I think my teammates know that. So there are
Mhm.
like give and takes. What we do is like, if these are the things that maybe they are kind of missing out on, they are all remote. We don't go to
Okay.
an office, they're all remote. So everybody is working from Pune, Delhi, there's one from Mumbai and everything. So we are all remote. So that's great. They can work from home with their family, eat home cooked food and everything, and they are happy with it. And because that's the reason why I'm starting like a new community thing where even my teammates can come in and we can hang out at least once a month when
Mm.
that thing that we're planning on can happen. So trying to find that, I think, a balance between everything right now.
Yeah, balancing is very important in terms of
Yeah,
creative, in terms of business, and in terms
yeah,
of handling a lot of things.
yeah.
So, talking about teamwork, how do you hire the best person?
Oh, community.
Community, like what do you think you check? There is a checkbox or something.
I think there have been couple of check boxes, but they always change.
Okay.
So I always see
Mm.
their portfolio, for example, as the first thing, of course. But nowadays, like portfolio, people are really good at making really beautiful portfolios. But when it actually comes time for them to work on clients,
Mm.
they cannot meet the requirement because clients usually want everything really quickly. Specifically, I have a lot of bigger clients, and they're always launching something new, and they want even concepts coming in really quickly. So some people cannot have I have hired a lot of people who kind of lack in the speed about generating ideas. So I have always been back and
Mm.
forth. So nowadays, whoever I am hiring are the people I know well in the community,
Mm.
or I know them for a very long time, or either they're my mentees for a very long time. So I've seen them for like calls by calls on ADP list or on
Mm.
events or something, and I've seen their growth and how they work and how they think and their portfolios, and I've helped them build. Just ask them if they are free or not. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I think community is better as compared to like putting a hiring form and all that, because you
Yeah,
get a lot of unwanted applications, and you
yeah.
cannot do anything about that. You have to go through everyone.
I don't think I can
Mm.
ever judge someone by an email though. That's like
Oh,
the weird part for me. So
that
that's
makes
why I
sense.
usually
Yeah.
go with community. So yeah.
Okay, so moving ahead, how do you make sure that like you have a small team and they might have more works and as well? How do you make sure the quality is top notch every time?
It cannot be
Anything
top notch every single
like
time.
the thing that you are satisfied with, the client that, like.
There are two things that I keep in mind.
Mhm.
One, sorry, I would say three things that I usually keep
Okay,
in mind.
sure.
One is clients' guidelines.
Mhm.
Everything should be meeting with the client's guidelines. Second is, have we tried the best outcome yet? Like best layout, best colors, and everything yet? And third is within the timeline that is given, right? Because it can keep on going for infinite amount of time in the design world. And so I think having a time limit definitely helps, but having these three things kind of check boxes, it fits in the guidelines. We have tried something new as well, and yeah, we have sent it within like a couple of hours before they wanted it. So all of this,
That
if
makes
it
sense.
is checked, go for it.
Having such timelines, such check boxes, and doing within timeline very really helps, so that make sure that every client is happy. Because
Yeah, because imagine if you start working on like small things, like they have given the logo and the colors and the image and everything to you, but there are infinite ways on how you can present like one by one design that you would do for them, right? So there should be some limit, and I think time limit is one of the best things you can do. It might not be the best quality, but another mentor of mine, Matthew Ensign, has told this to me: is it's always better to be done
Mhm.
than perfect. Just get
uh,
things out there. It should be almost perfect. It's okay, it's fine, otherwise you just keep on doing that one thing and never move to the other one.
that makes sense. I think just doing it is the most important thing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. If- So I have one more important thing, which I think this is very trending or in very hype: content creation for creatives. So what do you
Mhm.
think? Like, you are very active on YouTube, and tell us about like how has been your experience with content creation. Are you being consistent? Do you feel it is a very forced thing that we have to do as a creative, and do you feel it interesting or not?
I think I'm kind of in between. I think
Okay.
I am being forced in doing so many things so that I get my name out there, and I actually also get my work out there as well. But on the other part, I like doing all of this stuff. But if you remember, like when your
Mhm.
mom tells you to do something, right? If you want to clean your desk, and today's like, all right, I'll clean my desk today. I know I have to clean my desk, otherwise I'm not going to be inspired to do anything. And then your mom comes in and gives you a earful, like, you have to clean your desk. And then you're like, you know what? Now I'm not going to do it because you
Yeah.
told me so.
Yeah.
It's like that, I think, right now with me, because I feel I want to do it, but because it's kind of forcefully telling me to do like a very specific amount of reels, like very specific type of reels, and that kind of makes me not want to do it anymore. But yeah, I'm kind of getting back into it, like for the travel vlogs, right? That was like a challenge for myself. It
Mhm.
was not never about like the design part at all. I was not doing any designing in those like drawings or like what like on in those travel vlogs that I was doing. But um, that was just a challenge. Like, can I travel with a camera? you know, can I be consistent about shooting? All of that stuff. So I like doing it, but yeah, I don't want to be forced into doing a lot of stuff. So, and again, like creativity is nothing to do with consistency. It's completely opposite. So I don't think anyone should feel the need to be consistent when it comes to good creativity.
Mhm. Okay, that is interesting, and I think talking on a camera was something that I was very afraid of. Like, I was very comfortable behind the camera, making cinematic shots and all those stuff. But there was a time when I have to do it. Like, chalo, ab karna padega. I think it would
Yeah.
help me a lot. So, content creation, you also mentioned that a lot of clients are already familiar to you because of your content on YouTube. So that is also helping your business in a way.
Hmm.
And even for me, a lot of people are able to understand me as a person just by going through my Instagram and all. So I think for content creation, what I feel is like that you don't have to force yourself to be consistent, like 3 days a week, 4 days a week. You're making content, you are having a mic, you are giving gyan and all, being a design guru, trying to be Christo. We, a lot of people are there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they are also doing good, like they're having good number of followers. And on in content creation, if you have numbers good, like more higher numbers, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what quality of number are there, what quality of people are there.
Yeah.
The whole society will judge you based on that. You will, like, I this is a very, very bad thing that I have experienced in the creative industry, that people started as a designer, as a creative, as a logo designer, as a brand designer, and then they started creating content. It went viral, they got followers, good followers, 100k. 100k is a big thing right now. but
Yeah.
it is achievable. So they started getting brand deals. Now what I feel bad is that the reason that we used to follow these people are lost.
Yes.
They are creating and promoting the products of the brand only.
Yeah.
There is nothing about design anymore. I'm like it looks
You know
forced.
what? That
Yeah.
that happened with me.
Huh.
I have started to get a lot of brand deals nowadays, but I'm
Okay.
saying no to most of them, which I don't want to do at all.
Okay.
So recently, I got one of the brand deals, and I did it with
Mhm.
did a small thing with them because I personally thought it would be really fun. It worked really well with me and one of my other like person who purchased it from that link or whatever they give you. But two other people said that it didn't work out that well,
Okay.
right? And then when they reached out to me back again, like, would you like to do one more and we can send you more of these products? I'm like, no, because it didn't work out for the 50% of the masses, so I'm not going to do it. Even if it did work out for me, because I don't want to be that person who just sells out on because I was getting money. If it works out, then great, because I did that one thing because it worked out for me. But I don't want to keep on doing things just because I was getting money. Because in the
Hmm.
end, that is important as well, right? I also want to get money out of the content creation that I'm doing, but there should be a fine line about, um, yeah, authenticity, I would say. Do you actually believe in it or not?
Exactly. I think that tells how authentic you are. Like if you say something before you are viral, and then after you get good followers, you get a brand deal, and you are doing exactly opposite to that.
Yeah.
So it feels really bad. But
Yeah.
so one last question about the studio. We have a very few thing after this. So it's been almost 150 minutes, and we will. I hope I can wind this up soon. And
Sure.
so, one thing that you would like to tell as a dream goal or milestone with your studio, like the benchmark, you can earn a limited amount of money, but still, what dream or goals that you have that you still like feel कि ये भी करना है, ये बाकी है.
Oh, I would love to work with really amazing designers because
Hmm?
अभी तक ऐसे हुआ है कि the amount of designers I have, they are really good. I think the team that I have now is really really amazing. But I would love to hire creative directors and art directors who are way better than me so that I can kind of get back into design and creating a lot of things. Because I feel when you have good people with you, when you have a good team with you and they are really good at design, it's easy to get clients and it's really easy to get good work out of it. And even you feel inspired out of it. So there have been like clients nowadays that are coming for collaboration specifically with me, and I sometimes do scratch my head like, oh, how should I do this? Right? I don't want to do that. I want that flow of like natural creativity to come out of me, and that would definitely happen. I think if I have more better senior level people in my team, and I can only get those senior level when I can hire them and give them that salary and all of that stuff. But that would be really amazing. And having like that army with you who can fight with whatever issues the clients can give you and you can give them answers on whatever the questions that they have. That would be like the goal for me.
That is interesting. I never thought about that. That as a designer, you can hire people who are better than you in terms of like art
I have
direction and all.
always done that. I've always done that. Like one of the designers
Mhm.
that I absolutely loved hiring was Ankita D'Souza. Hey Ankita, if you're watching, you are amazing. She actually applied to one of the I am hiring posts that I did, I think a year back or something. And she did work with me like for 2 or 3 months. It wasn't like for a lot of time because it was like for a contract basis of time and project basis things. Even though the clients were not that great at the time, but working with her, and she's a junior by the way to me, like in terms of like 1 or 2 years, not a lot, but seeing her work and seeing her kind of get things rolled up really quickly and rolling out like all the design that she used to do and ideation and everything, I was like mind blown at that time. Maybe for her it was easy, I'm not very sure, but and I think she was also working from a different time zone at the time. I think she was in Switzerland at the time and studying from there. So oh my god, it was really really amazing to work with her. So it kind of pushed me as well, like, oh, I can do better now.
Mhm.
I you get another goal, someone pushes your
Ah,
boundaries as well, so it's fun that way.
yeah, that is interesting. I think I met people when I came to Bangalore because like getting in person helped me a lot. Getting to
Yeah.
understand कि like अच्छा इतने अच्छे डिजाइनर्स भी हैं. Digitally तो बहुत लोग दिखते हैं. You just tell it to, like, there will always be great designers. You can, like, you have no limit. But physically, when you see people in front of you in person who are doing actually good job than you get inspired. And
True.
it might be like, the dream that you mentioned, that the goal that you said, it is kind of like very exciting. Like, as a founder, you have someone who is doing the art direction for you.
Yeah.
So that is
Oh,
pretty
that would be
interesting.
so fun.
I hope that
That
that gets done as soon as possible.
Like
So
imagine if you
mhm,
are giving someone like to your clients like an answer, because after a while you get used to certain answers to certain questions,
mhm,
and imagine someone coming in with a very expert different perspective to it. It would be
understood.
so exciting for that
Exactly.
answer to actually produce and to design all of that, and that would be fun. Yeah.
Exactly. One most challenging thing what I have experienced is that, like, the intersection of business and design, like making things that also aligns with your design aesthetics as well as the client's business. So, have you faced any problem in this thing?
Not as such. I would say
Mhm.
balancing is not the worst part. I would say prioritizing is the worst part. So I
Okay.
think for me, I prioritize creativity way more than business. But I think it's been like 2 months or 3 months. I'm getting back into the business part of it, which is kind of exhausting for me.
What do you hate
A
the most
lot
in
of things.
business?
I don't think it's very creative. Like I don't think it gets me
Mhm.
excited at all. If like
Okay.
it's for like a businessman or a businesswoman's point of view, then that might get them excited. But I don't know, getting on calls with like marketing people and stuff, I don't think that's really exciting.
Educating people who don't understand design, is that hard?
It's fine. Like I can do
Mhm.
all of that, but like the business part is like the admin stuff, like
Mhm.
invoices and taxes and
Yeah.
I don't know. That's really, really, really boring. And every year you have to learn something new out of it. And I don't know. It just exhausts me a lot.
Investing is hard. I would say I
Yeah, and
did
you
a
have
lot
to
of
prioritize
mistakes.
it
Yeah.
every month. You have to prioritize it every month. So
Yeah,
that's
you have to
like
send
the
out invoices. You
weirdest.
have to make sure that each details are updated and there is no
Yeah,
typographic
and like
mistakes. Yeah.
project proposals,
Proposals.
writing contracts. I love writing those. I'm not
Okay.
sure, but the thing is, I don't have time to write those. That's the worst
Hmm.
part of it. So yeah, it's weird.
I would like to add something here. So, folks,
Okay.
I just made a kit out of this, like having a proposal, having a contract, having a invoice, and including an overdue invoice. So, check that out. Link is in bio. So, self
Oh,
promotion.
nice. Check it out,
Yeah,
everyone.
cool. So, I think we got a lot of things. I would like to sum this up with one last question. For
Sure.
anyone who is watching this as a freelancer, as an independent designer, who plans to do like independent things, who plans to work as a solo person, what is the golden advice, or what is the thing that you would say, you would suggest?
I think I tell this to everybody, but explore as much as you can. Explore. Please don't get stuck to just one field because now that you have chosen it.
Mhm.
In creativity, that's the beauty of it. The more paths you take and the more branches you create in your own reality every single day in your own field, I think the better creative person you become. So explore as much as you can. Explore, experience art every single day. Go out, go to museums, go to live museums as well. It's really fun to check all these things out. Go to design events, experience all of these things, and explore more. I think that's always the golden advice. By anybody and to anybody.
That is the thing. I think we covered a lot of things, so I would like to wind this up. So thank you so much, Metri, for joining us for this episode. It was a pleasure. I would love to do a standing ovation with you for you. So thank you so much. So yeah, thank you so much. It means a lot. Like,
Thank
it
you,
is a
thank
huge
you.
achievement for me for this year, I would say. So, like,
You've done a great job. I think you were one of the good hosts that I've ever met
means
because
a
I do
lot.
a lot of
I
podcasts
think I
and
still am a bad host.
even I'm a bad host, but I've seen people who have like good questions, and I really appreciate this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
cool. So yeah, so folks, this was the episode 6 of the VYRus Show. I hope you all get some valuable insights from this. Maitri was a very lovely and very generous viewer, and the insight that you shared with us, I hope it helps the audience of us. And see you. We will meet you in the next episode. Stay tuned.